When I switched back to the S25 Ultra, one might have thought I would have returned the iPhone. Here's why I didn't. Let's go. I've made it very clear in my time with the iPhone that iOS is just not for me. I just couldn't get around the limitations and the lack of freedom that the iOS platform offers, especially as a product isolated on its own and sort of without an ecosystem attached to it. But despite all of that I didn't enjoy and that I just can't get on board with, I decided to keep it. Firstly, it was kind of like a business decision. Selfishly, I will admit that straight away. This YouTube channel is kind of like a business and you kind of got to think like that sometimes. The fact is that having an iPhone, especially as a long-time Samsung user, can actually attract an audience that want to compare what it's like from iOS to Samsung against each other. And really, that's kind of like the reason above all anything else, because I get to compare this to future Samsung releases, current Samsung releases, iOS, oneui. It's kind of got that more than duality. Tripality? That's not a word either. But you get that point, right? That I get to keep this to showcase what it's like from a Samsung user's point of view, owning an iPhone. It's a business decision, and it's not one that I'm really going to apologize for, because ultimately, at the end of the day, whilst it's great to be able to sort of stick to a certain type or a certain brand, sometimes you do have to branch out. And for me, branching out meant this, unfortunately. But when I really start to think about it too, I kind of have not a responsibility, but I kind of have a reason, because people that watch my channel are Samsung loyalists. I like to assume you are anyway. So sometimes you might think about what life is like on the other side of the fence. What are we missing out on? And also potentially, if you were to try and switch, what would it be like for you as someone who loves the Samsung ecosystem and the oneui way of life? So I kind of wanted to keep it for that reason too, because I wanted to showcase what life is really like if you do switch, what you have to put up with, what are the pain points, and what you kind of can expect from it. And heading into S26 season, there's probably going to be another similar subset of people thinking the same way. So it'd be great to have this again to showcase the latest from Samsung and the latest from Apple. And because of that, I can kind of appreciate that out beyond the YouTube tech bubble that I live in, not everyone has the ability to just go out and buy a bunch of phones to compare them. So I just thought having this myself, it gives people a chance to research, and if they want to go down the iPhone route, they are best informed from a Samsung user what it's like. So purely, number one, it's kind of a business decision that I wanted to do it, and a content decision as well. I guess the two kind of go hand in hand. But the rest of them, I guess you could say they aren't, because it's related to hardware and sort of software features on here. But it does kind of tie in a little bit to the whole content creating machine that I've got going. Specifically, the next one in that line is hardware based, and it's specifically tied to the selfie camera. The selfie camera is impressive because of the fact you have this square sensor now, which allows you to sort of crop the sensor in either horizontally or vertically and still maintain like a 4K resolution when you record video. Just gives you that flexibility to capture things in a different way or a much easier way on your smartphone and maintain that high quality resolution, like I am now shooting on the iPhone 17 Pro Max using the selfie camera in 4K 30. So it can be great for that talking head A-roll on the go, in a studio, just something quick that needs to be shot. Just pull this up and shoot with it. Now, it seems ridiculous to say higher quality when you've got the Fold 7, which has the rear camera that is much higher quality, again, that you can use for that same exact thing. And I do use that, don't get me wrong. But sometimes the situation demands just for a quick pick up your slab smartphone and record it. And it's also good to have this bit of separation, and I'll get to that a little bit later. And I just think it's a clever feature, and it had my attention. And as it goes, they still have my money. As you unwrap new tech this gifting season, are you ready to log in to all of your apps again? I don't know about you, but that sounds like a bit of a hassle. So instead of doing that, give yourself the gift of a new password manager. In doing so, you will be joining the millions of people who trust Keeper Security around the world with their personal information and their passwords. When you are logging into your apps and accounts with Keeper, you can be sure that your passwords are protected by the most secure, certified, tested, and audited password security platform in the world. Plus, Keeper autofills credentials and multi-factor authentication codes, so logging in across devices is effortless. 2025 upon reflection, has been a huge year for Keeper. They were named the Enterprise Leader, Mid-Market Leader, and Small Business Leader in G2's Best Software Awards for Password Management. With that prestige behind them, you can be sure that your passwords are going to be safe. This festive season, you may also need to share files and passwords with family and friends. Keeper allows for this too. You can securely share records with other people and even set permissions of what they can and can't do, such as time parameters or view only. Keeper is a secure solution that will help you on your privacy journey. And make sure you are protected heading into this festive season by taking advantage of their special offer. They are currently running their Cyber Week promo. You get 60% off annual plans and family plans for new users from now through to December 8th. To access that, use the code CYBER60 and the link in the description to download Keeper Security today, and thank you to Keeper Security for sponsoring this video. Next in the long line of lists, it's actually still video related, but it's to do with the rear cameras, but it's also to do with software. Now, I've made it pretty clear, I actually don't prefer the iPhone's video recording straight out of the camera. I think it's too flat. I don't think it has enough life or vibrance. I actually strongly dislike it. And that's from the native camera. And even when you consider it has things like the ProRes with the log, I still don't think it's good enough or gives you enough flexibility to be able to tweak things in recording video. What Apple have though, that I guess is what people bang on about, is the third-party support, where you can actually add on third-party apps and they take full advantage of Apple's camera hardware and give you so many more options in that software. Things like the Blackmagic camera app or even Apple's own Final Cut camera app give you that camera flexibility when it comes to video that just gives it that extra bit of level to capture things on your phone itself. That means it can stand in as a B-roll camera when it needs to. Not that Samsung can't, and in fact, I probably prefer the Samsung B-roll option, especially if it's something quick, just recording straight out of the video app. It does a better job, the Samsung one. But the iPhone, if you wanted to shoot something a bit more progressive or a bit more intricate, gives you those options. To be fair though, Samsung are starting to increase the capability. The Blackmagic app now allows for log with Samsung's camera, which I think is a big win for Samsung, and I think that might level out the playing field. And I'm looking forward to seeing the S26 when that sort of brings out different codecs. So again, another reason to keep it. But the thing is, why I prefer the iPhone right now for this purpose is because I've got absolutely nothing else on here. I've got no cloud storage. I've got no family photos. It is literally just a blank slate of storage that I can record B-roll shots to, and A-roll with the selfie camera. And it means that I'm not convoluting my life. I'm not having the Samsung phones for the purpose of family and work, and the iPhone sort of family and work. This is just work. So the storage that's on here will just be exclusively used for that purpose. And then once I'm done, I can sort of get rid of it without having to really think too much. It's just gone. That isn't to say I'm not shooting on Samsung phones B-roll anymore. In fact, I'd probably majority still shoot my B-roll using a Samsung because it's in my pocket. But having this on a desk or in a bag just gives me that opportunity to have a dedicated tool and resource for it. And the last reason I haven't returned it, which is something you're probably not going to expect, is AirDrop. Let me clarify. QuickShare is still better. I much prefer all of the options and the usage way that QuickShare offers you. But AirDrop, and this is probably a precursor to a video that's coming out soon, works because earlier this year, I switched all of my editing from my Galaxy Book 4 Ultra to a MacBook Pro M1 Max. Yep, you heard that correctly. I switched to the MacBook. Now I've got the video that I'm currently in the middle of sort of putting together coming up very soon. So hit subscribe for that because that will go into detail how I've made the MacBook work with my Samsung ecosystem. But when you get an iPhone and you can AirDrop, it's just stupid not to use it. So all those reasons about video creation that I spoke about before, whether it be the selfie camera or whether it be recording in sort of Blackmagic or Final Cut or the main video app, it's so easy to just AirDrop the video across. But I have found a way to quick share to AirDrop onto the Mac. It's called AirDrop. I think a lot of people tend to know about it in the underground scene, if that's what it's called. And that works great, especially for photos. It quickly sends things over from my Samsung to the MacBook. Where AirDrop needs an internet connection to work, AirDrop does not. It literally can just connect. In the same way QuickShare does with Samsung, where it just connects the two devices together, AirDrop does the same thing. All of these functions and the reasons why I'm keeping it are a tool for my business. They do not make it the smartphone that I need this to be to just sort of fit into my life. But those features specifically fit as a tool for the content creation that I am in. So whilst they are reasons for never being able to return it, there's just too many other reasons about why I can never switch to it full time. And I guess in that sense, I need to probably appreciate the position I'm in, that I can have access through my job to technology, whether it's provided or whether I go and purchase it in for myself, in this case, a 2,200 Australian dollars iPhone that is basically just being used as a camera. I'm fully aware that I'm in that privileged position, but I also don't see this as an iPhone. I kind of just ignore this logo on here and just fully use it as a tool. It's like buying a camera, one that sort of can link in with your workflow. That's kind of what this is. I just forget that it has an operating system on here because, well, I don't use it. So that can give you some insight as to why I'm keeping it. A lot of people would make a video saying why I returned the iPhone. And then it's like, oh, I returned it because the window closed and I didn't want it anymore. Whereas I kept it. I didn't want to make a whole why I returned the iPhone video just for clicks. I wanted to make a why I didn't return it, but give you the honest reason as to why I kept it. So hit subscribe to Tech with Benefits, because when S26 and all the other Samsung devices next year come out, this is going to be compared to it heavily. So you make sure you don't want to miss that. And I'll see you guys in the next one. You!